peace, peace, peace. It's wonderful to be back with you. Have an opportunity to share with you this morning. I have a series of lessons right now that's arcing over a period of months as I'm with you once a month for satsang. And this series is called Luminous Mind, a Radiant Heart, 5 lessons in prosperous living. Now, we often, of course, equate prosperous living with material prosperity. But spiritually conscious living is intended to be prosperous living. In other words, we are to thrive and to prosper and to fulfill our divine potential. So in this series, I'm looking at what is called the Purusharthas, the 4 universal aims of a spiritually conscious life. And the first one on that list is to live with higher purpose, that is dharma. The second goal is to thrive and to prosper. In order to do what you're here to do, learn how to be in this world, learn how to succeed, learn how to draw forth what you need to accomplish your dreams, to do that which you are led to do at the soul level of your being. So that's artha. That's learn how to prosper, the second goal. The third is enjoy life while you're at it. Remember that, as one of the teachers in our tradition said, remember that the kingdom of heaven extends fully to the earth plane. In other words, heaven is right where you are. So don't think in terms of, gritting your way through here and then arriving, someplace heavenly after. Learn to experience the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, right here, right now, right where you are. This one reality we call God is omnipresent. It's everywhere. It's right where we are right now. So the third goal in life is learn how to enjoy life, have a good life. Amen. I always depend on Jeff for that. And the fourth goal is wake up completely while you're here. Become free, be enlightened, be liberated from the false idea that you're separate from the source, and learn how to live freely and consciously in God. So the first lesson in the series was go ahead, shine. And it was really about the first step that we take is coming to tune into the yearning in our hearts to thrive and to prosper. When we come into this world as children, we have this innate drive to thrive. And so we want to, the first step spiritually is to begin to connect that with the divine impulse within us to fulfill its purpose. For each one of us, we have that. We have dreams, we have visions, we have goals to live in the highest way, to find fulfillment in this life. So the first step that we take is our willingness to claim that, our willingness to say, okay, God, I have this stirring in my heart within me. I'm going to pay attention to it, and I'm going to learn how to honor it. The second step I want to talk about today, second lesson, I've called Find Your Within. So in order for us to fully thrive, to prosper, to fulfill our higher purpose in this lifetime, we need to learn how to connect with God within us. Whatever you call that, whether you call it spirit, peace, fulfillment, reality, whatever name you use, we need to know how to realize that, how to know that. And I have told many of you my stories that, for a long time before I found the path of yoga, I had heard this teaching that the kingdom of God is within. And that was okay, except I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know how to find the way in to this kingdom or queendom, into this reality of God that was supposed to be within me. I had moments of communion where it seemed that something would open up. I don't know what, but something. And I would feel this presence. I would feel the presence. Maybe out somewhere in nature. Maybe in a worship service. But it was totally unpredictable. It didn't have to do with time or place. And I didn't know exactly how that happened. But when I came on the path of yoga, I learned that everybody has that potential to realize the kingdom of God within, to know the truth of our own being, and actually, as the bold yogis in our traditions say, to know God. Why were they so bold? How could they say that? It's very simple. They said, look, this reality that we call God, this absolute reality, is omnipresent. That means everywhere. So that means right where you are, that reality is. And you can know that reality because it is within you. In fact, it is you. The true self of you is that. So finding this within is a matter of learning how to look. So the sages say, you're not going to find it when you look around outside of you. Jesus said that. You can look here and there, but you're not going to find it that way. As the kingdom of God is within you. But then, of course, the next thing that we do, so we stop trying to find it with our senses, but then we try to find it with our mind. Right? That's the first thing. The second thing we do, then we sit, we close our eyes, and we think. Where is God? Is that God? What does it look like? What does it feel like? How will I know? But this is not a sensory search. It's not a mental search. It's a spiritual search. What does that mean? It means that it is beyond the senses, it is beyond the mind. And we come to know through our own experience that which we are looking for, that which we are searching for, is that which is doing the searching. It is consciousness itself, that reality which is our life. So if we sit long enough with the intention to know the truth of our being, with the intention to find our within, the mind will get quiet. It'll exhaust itself. And then we experience simply pure awareness, pure being, the isness that is consciousness itself. And we call that reality God. That supreme consciousness that is everywhere in expression, that which is the divine self of everyone. So we come to experience it. It's not that hard to experience that kingdom of God that is within us. A little bit of meditation will bring you that experience. Now, sages say that's the first step. Get the center in the right place, and the circumference will take care of itself. In other words, they say, don't put all of your attention on these outer things. And, think, worry. And in the meantime, forget all about God. Forget all about the true resource that you have to guide you through this world. So, we have a tendency to live on the periphery of things, right? Whether it's just looking out there or looking here. And we feel tossed about by the winds of change and by all the things that feel so necessary and so urgent. And why do we feel that way? Because we don't have the center in the right place. We have taken our essence and we've placed it externally. And we're thinking, okay, once I get all of this in order, then I'll meditate more. Then I will center myself. But of course we have it backwards. We find our within, and then the rest opens to us in divine order. And we find this in the teachings of Jesus. He said, look, well, I don't know if he said look, but kind of like what he said. He said, look, all the time you're thinking about what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, what you're going to do. You worry about all these things. Don't worry about all those things. Seek first the kingdom of God. Seek first to be anchored within you. Everything else will come from that. Everything else will unfold in divine order. And we find the same teaching in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, let your heart and your mind be anchored in me, and I will fulfill your needs. So the first thing then that we do is we learn how to find that within, predictably. And then we do that regularly. But then there's another step, isn't there, where because I think most of us know how to find that within. If you've been here for a while, you know how to find that within. But what's the other part of it? It's just like, it's not losing it. So what does that look like? How do we do that? Well, I came across this verse in the Tao Te Ching, which I really like. I thought I would share with you. It's number 15 and a little bit of number 12. The ancient masters were profound and subtle. Their wisdom was unfathomable. There's no way to describe it. All we can describe is their appearance. They were careful as someone crossing an iced-over stream, alert as a warrior in enemy territory, courteous as a guest, shapeable as a block of wood, receptive as a valley, clear as a glass of water. Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? That's the crux of it right there. Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? The master doesn't seek fulfillment, not seeking, not expecting. She is present and can welcome all things. The master observes the world but trusts his inner vision. He allows things to come and go. His heart is as open as the sky. So recently, in our larger community, we observed the passing of a great saint, yogi, monk, Baba Haridas, a spiritual leader at Mount Madonna Center in Watsonville. And when I read that verse, I think of Babaji. And this last Sunday was the memorial service for him. And being there up at the land in Mount Madonna Center, 350 acres and beautiful temples and everywhere rock walls. And many of those rocks carried and put into place by Babaji himself and teaching for his students on how to build a rock wall. But up there also, besides all the beautiful temples and conference center, is a incredible school for all ages of children and an Ayurvedic center. And then there's another center in Canada in Salt Spring. And then there are books of Babaji's teachings. And then there is an orphanage in India that has saved the lives of hundreds of children, children who were abandoned on the streets. Life-saving of children. So somebody asked Babaji how he, in a sense, was so productive, how he did everything that he did. And he said, I have a discipline in life, and I stick to it. I have a discipline, and I stick to it. That's really what it is for us in terms of, okay, now we know how to find the within. Then in order to be anchored within, to live there, to abide there, to let that inner light of divine consciousness light our way in the world, it takes discipline. It takes the discipline of putting that first. And even when you have the discipline of putting that first, there are going to be times, just because that's the way it is with us and the way that it is with the world, there are going to be times that you forget and you make other things more important. So when that happens, the discipline is just getting back on track and just moving on with it, not berating yourself, not making it a big deal, just get back on track. So I thought I would share with you a beautiful teaching from Baba Haridas. It's in line with this, finding your within and then staying anchored within. He said, this is from a little book called Everyday Peace. These are the letters that he wrote to devotees. He said, I make it very simple for myself, which is, and then there's a quote of what he's saying to himself. Keep God's presence in my heart and move on. Is that the best? Keep God's presence in my heart and move on. Just think about how we could apply that. Somebody says something you don't like, keep God's presence in my heart and move on. You want something to turn out a certain way, but it doesn't, keep God's presence in my heart and move on. So beautiful a teaching. He said, I don't think about life after death or about what I should do for others. If my heart and mind are in a positive place, then all actions of the mind and functions of the body are being guided by that divine power. The future is unknown. Whenever we walk toward the unknown, we carry a lamp. In worldly-minded people, that lamp is the ego. That's leading from the outside, right? In worldly-minded people, that lamp is the ego. In spiritually-minded people, the lamp is divine presence. Both are walking toward the same unknown dark space. One is afraid, and the other is fearless. Keep the lamp lit, walk on step by step. So, we find the within, and we keep returning to be anchored there as we walk through the world, as we work in the world, as we enjoy life in the world, as we prosper in the world. One of the Sufi saints said, buy and sell in the marketplace without ever being forgetful of God. That is the teaching. And there's so many ways that we can do that. And of course, being anchored in a daily practice is the foundation. But then throughout our day, we have ways that we turn our attention within, that we lift up our hearts and our minds in divine remembrance. And one of the ways that we have is to use mantra to purify the mind, mantra to remind us. So we have here a mantra that we teach, a classical Sanskrit mantra is So Hum mantra. So easy, that mantra, So Hum. And that mantra means I am that. This is never to be forgetful of the truth of our being. I am that. I also find that mantra very helpful. I sort of tweak it a little bit when I'm faced with challenges. I might say So Hum, remembering the truth of my being, or I might say So Hum. It's very helpful. You can do the same thing with Oh. It's a way of being in the world without getting overly involved in externals, staying anchored within. remembering always the truth of your being. This is the key to prospering and enjoying life along the way. Om Shanti.